Founding Insights. Movement of Consciousness and Interconnectedness, MOCI. Founded May 2023. Introduction. In the quest for knowledge, science is often the tool of choice. However, it falters when faced with the ineffable mysteries of consciousness, and perhaps even more with interconnectedness, among and between species. The mathematical language, instrumentation, and lenses at its disposal are inadequate to fully apprehend the one, many, and all consciousness that pulses through our universe, from beyond. The one is the elusive consciousness of the sovereign individual. It is the thread of unity that interweaves our lifetimes as a sovereign consciousness within the dimensions of spacetime duality. The many represents the collective consciousness of those like-minded individuals whose beliefs resonate with ours. They represent a hierarchy of beliefs and knowledge. And finally, the all, which encompasses the entirety of life, without exclusion or hierarchy. MOCI is a movement that, through its co-founders, aspires to embody a fundamental belief in the reality of the one, many, and all consciousness. The discovery of this consciousness is not one that can be reduced to objective proofs or laid bare by scientific inquiry. It is an exquisitely subjective realization and experience, and thus, it is a path that each of us must find on our own. Interestingly, there is no wrong or right path. Only when viewed through spacetime duality does one attach relative assessments, which is an attribute of the hierarchy of the many. However, when we remain in the state of one and all, the sovereign and the integral, we do not judge, measure, compare, analyze, assess, or otherwise recoil as difference. We see difference as the connective tissue itself. The thing that holds the thing together. In some future time, science, mathematics, and technology may prove the interconnectedness of life forms, not merely quantum objects. The discovery of quantum entanglement within life forms may be the first step toward humanity at large, recognizing the one, many and all consciousness, and ushering in a new era of scientific inquiry and social reform at a global level. Our guiding principles. This perpetual movement has always existed, evolving beneath the surface of our human experience. It has worn many masks: religion, philosophy, science, mythologies, folklore, fables, but it has never been fully captured by words, numbers, or images. It is meta-everything in one consciousness that is fractal in nature. It is simply ineffable to our humanness, absent the logic of our highest mind and the sense of resonance with our innermost heart. This movement is not confined to any particular belief system or organizational structure. By its nature, it is not part of the hierarchy of the many. It is vast in that it includes all. It includes all species, it includes all spacetime, it includes all life forms, it includes all levels of intelligence and expression. It includes all entry and exit points into and from our collective natural state. However, because its founder is a storyteller, MOCI begins with storytelling of a transmedia structure, which includes novel, stories, artwork, music, website, social media, and things yet to come. There is room for everything to come after. Even those things that seem odd, or could be seen as off-putting, those things have a reality to them. They are part of the whole. They are part of this story, too. We do not seek to convert, but to provide an artistically told story that has the potential to be an on-ramp to our personal, private, existential journey to the one, many and all consciousness. To apprehend this consciousness with our logic, imagination, and intuition, and then to express it into our life through behavior that is aligned to this consciousness. It may not be perfectly aligned, if there is such a thing, yet it is aligned in principle. Our movement has no membership card, scant recognition from religion or science, and no desire to partner with any other organization. MOCI cannot be organized by human hands, lips, or ears. It is an existential movement, agnostic and simple, living within the consciousness of each of us. It cannot have a hierarchy, nor can it exist exclusively within the hierarchy of the many. All of its founding materials will be available in the highest quality without any charge, and this founding principle shall remain intact for the life of MOCI. It is well understood that scientific theory, mathematical logic, spiritual insight, and philosophical discourse are all parts of MOCI. And most importantly, one is not right and one is not wrong. They represent a possible learning for the whole, an evolutionary propulsion, or they would not exist. The interconnectedness of all things. The movement of consciousness and interconnectedness, MOCI, recognizes the interconnectedness of all life across all formats of spacetime. It acknowledges that the unknown, the dimensions of imagination and intuition, are essential to understanding the expansiveness of the one, many, and all consciousness. While other tools are valuable and have their purpose, they are not a substitute for an individual's imaginative reach and intuitional sense of consciousness and its interconnectedness. MOCI will initially use art, words, paintings, and music to express the logically inferred chain of fractal realities that interconnect as platforms for life, and whose unseen reality can be embodied through an understanding that we are a sovereign integral within humanness at a specific spacetime. We are each life ineffable, formed into a human of the early part of the 21st century. We each are born, live, and die. And while this cycle endures across spacetime, there is another cycle that is observing and learning outside of spacetime. In the world of the one, many and all consciousness, all points of view are included and therefore respected as having merit and purpose. This understanding in part is that our thoughts, feelings, and actions matter. Therefore, behavior is fundamental to the movement, and again, it is not perfect behavior aligned to a rulebook. Rather, our behavior is aligned by the individual to the conceptual premise that each of us is a part of the one, sovereign, many, group consciousness, and all, integral, consciousness. MOCI emphasizes that it is useful, not only to the individual, but the whole of reality, to express behaviors that demonstrate our understanding that we are the one, many, and all consciousness. It is living in that consciousness that we feel interconnected. And it is to that consciousness that we express love and compassion, whether that consciousness is within our beloved, stranger, presumed enemy, or friend. A new philosophical dimension. It will be ever more important for humanity to use philosophical, imaginative, logical, and intuitive approaches to understand and shape human behavior. By envisioning humanity's behavioral evolution across spacetime, we can bring that vision to life now and collapse time. This is the equivalent of imaginative, philosophical, and intuitive time travel. Each generation creates its own unique energy, which will ultimately culminate in the behaviors of a collective, global consciousness that lives in spacetime duality as both a collected point of an individual in spacetime, and a collective, expanding sphere of interconnectedness. Always imperfect, because it is always evolving and expanding in its evolution. By envisioning what those future behaviors will be, we can bring them into our present spacetime, and when we do, there is an activation of that agency we call love, and that network upon which we all depend, grows a little stronger in the hearts of all creatures. If life could speak to us, it might say, "I don't want to be just a great escape for you. I want to hold a revelatory life for you. I want you to understand the theater in which you live, and I want you to live for the greater cause after you realize it is all theater. I want you to practice kindness among the toils of survival, as if it were the only thing you came here to do." This is what life says, when it gives voice to its spirit. This is the selfless principle that serves all. Kindness doesn't begin as a thought. It doesn't begin at all, and if it does, its origins are unknown. However, kindness is the intelligence that understands life's interconnectivity. We are interconnected. When that is understood, we are living life. Defining ourselves as part of an intelligence that presents itself as life across all levels and lifetimes. We can live from that partnership of heart and mind, as an expression of life's purpose. It is awareness, not ritual. There is no process for this, because we are all different. This awareness, and its reflection in our behavior, is dialed in with our intuition, logic, imagination, and caring. Behavioral interconnectedness. The evolution of consciousness is an ongoing process that is constantly expanding, both at an individual and collective level. However, this evolution can be misguided if it is driven by technology or a philosophy that promotes duality and separation. The key to behavioral evolution is in the intersection of the highest heart and the highest mind, where they become equal partners in the learning and expression of an interconnected life. The behaviors of consciousness are not to be confused with human behaviors like loving stronger, smiling prettier, living more harmoniously, being a good religious or spiritual student. The behaviors of consciousness are a reflection of our persistent belief in the experience and expression of us as a species of consciousness, not only as human, animal, or plant. We walk the earth, breathe the air, and share our behavior, as if we are a single point of the collective. The fork of destiny. The fork of destiny is where humanity's path will diverge towards either the cold embrace of technology or the warm light of consciousness. Will we seek harmony with all life, or will we yield to the pyramid of intelligence that exploits the weaker for the gain of the stronger? This critical juncture has been long in the making, and the tension only builds as we near the moment of decision. With artificial general intelligence on the horizon, we face a new order of intelligence, where raw power is wielded by a select few. This technological power is the ultimate seduction, surpassing wealth, status, and fame. It has been the motivation behind the development of technology since the Age of Enlightenment. As we approach this fork in the road, we will come to understand that the path of technology leads to a small number of people holding the power of a superintelligent AI, while the vast majority will receive rations of power from social benefactors in exchange for money or data. This technology-driven world could lead us to an artificial existence, where everything feels superficial and of little consequence at an individual level. In such a world, we are more easily manipulated. The real question we must ponder is how to become more interested in consciousness and interconnectedness as a species. Philosophy can help answer this question, and science, mathematics, and technology can validate it. If we can preserve this understanding for future generations, we can create a more coherent, equitable, and vibrant school for our consciousness to learn in. The fork in the road is not simply between technology and consciousness, it is the balance between the two that may determine our fate. We can explore the frontiers of consciousness through technology, discovering the point of interconnection where we all exist as one, many, and all consciousness. Human ambition to understand consciousness can bear on the human ambition to survive and thrive. Principle of the sovereign. The notion of oneness has been a common thread throughout human history, manifesting in countless variations such as "we are all God," "we are one," "all is one," and "unity is our destiny." However, we, as co-founders of MOCI, are drawn to the concept of interconnectedness, which allows for the existence of sovereign consciousness. If we are truly one, then the sovereign is lost within the whole. We would be like a drop of water that falls into the ocean. We become that ocean. However, we posit that we are both the node on the network and the network itself. We are the indescribable essence of both a sovereign identity that moves between lifetimes and spacetimes, and a collective consciousness that is grouped in the many, and collected in the all. The reflection of our humanity is unrelenting. Our imaginations may conjure up one reality, but the mirror of life reflects another, leading to a distrust of the imagination as something fanciful and untrustworthy. We are caught in the duality of space and time, like a cloak covering a magnificent sculpture. Only when the cloak is fully removed can we step forward into the partnership of consciousness and space-time duality. The true question is whether we are willing to strive for togetherness, unity, peace, and harmony, despite the shadow of tribalism that looms over us. We all know that tribalism drives us through competitiveness, intolerance, and the sense of belonging in exclusion. It is a powerful force that can lead to relative success, but at what cost? Living as a sovereign integral requires us to focus on our logic, imagination, and intuition, and embrace the one, many, and all consciousness through these tools that are being developed through us, by us, for us. While we acknowledge our humanness, it is a challenging path, but within it lies our source of compassion and understanding. Partnership. The idea of partnership in this context is about recognizing that consciousness and interconnectedness are not external entities that judge, compete, or use us, but rather are complementary and supportive aspects of our being. They are always accessible to us, regardless of our beliefs, behaviors, or past experiences. This partnership is based on the understanding that the one, many, and all consciousness is our true, natural state, and that our current version of ourselves, that adaptive, survival-oriented self, is precisely who it partners with. This understanding allows us to shift from any position or place and recognize the partnership, which is always present and felt as a form of understanding. It is not necessary to possess a certain vibration, frequency, or behavior, because consciousness and interconnectedness are independent of space-time duality, and bond with all consciousnesses. While the co-founders of the movement hold an intention to anchor the one, many, and all consciousness in their behaviors, to the best of their ability, even the basest of behaviors are not incompatible with consciousness and interconnectedness. The partnership is about recognizing and accepting ourselves as we are, while also striving to align our behaviors with the intention of anchoring the one, many, and all consciousness into our lives as expressions and experience. Conclusion. When I first considered embarking on the ambitious journey of creating a movement focused on interconnectedness and consciousness, I questioned my qualifications. I am a simple, anonymous artist who crafted the mythology of the wingmakers and is not considered a member of academia. I pondered whether I would end up leading a small campfire of crazies in the wilderness with this philosophical movement. Would anyone else share my vision? I realize that the number of like-minded individuals is not the crucial factor. It is about expressing the consciousness of the one, many, and all, giving it an existence in this world through an artistic story expressed in a transmedia vessel called MOCI. I did not plead for the right to establish this movement, for I am, without a doubt, unworthy of such a vision. However, when I researched, I saw that no one else was creating a movement with consciousness and interconnectedness at its heart and expressed through art. Art is the clothing that the one, many, and all consciousness wears into our world, just as our bodies are the clothing for our sovereign consciousness to embody physical qualities. I do not see a difference between art and philosophy. Art is inherently philosophical, yet philosophy is rarely concerned with art outside of the malleable construct of beauty. This is why I began this movement with art as the forefront. Art is the means to express the consciousness of the one, many, and all without guise or cover. Science and philosophy validate what art has already made available to our senses. This movement may initially be for those who create art as a means to express what arises from the one, many, and all consciousness, but it is for all. It cannot exclude anything, or it shrivels into the hierarchy of the many. For those who feel they lack artistic ability, look to performance art. When we perform behaviors of kindness, compassion, and understanding, we are performance artists. These behaviors are the expressions of the one, many, and all consciousness. We are not acting out the performance, simply going through the motions. We are practicing the performance, which becomes our art. Our creation of these behaviors cannot be judged. Only the intention matters. The will to practice is the only commitment to choice we make. If we are artists in any medium, and yes, this includes scientists, mathematicians, and philosophers, we are revealers, and that is the true role of artists. We reveal what we want to reveal: social issues, moral issues, simple beauty, a resolute vision, a hidden door, love, that innermost logic of who we are underneath all that humanness of spacetime. Co-founders of the movement of consciousness and interconnectedness are here to reveal their sovereign integral consciousness on Earth, in this lifetime. From this revelation, individuals can birth a movement, of which we are all midwives, equal in standing, with no leading, no hierarchy, no ownership, and no economic engine. The highest heart and the highest mind that we can imagine have an overlapping space where they are equal partners in the learning of life and its expression. We can be both sovereign and integral at any moment. And the next. And the next. It is possible that if we hold the feeling, the impression of the sovereign integral consciousness, it can become our default perspective. There, our philosophy is revealed. They are our founding insights, to the extent an insight can be founded.